Hello friends, and greetings from Kiev in Ukraine. And this time I want to show you something very special. Well, at least for me it is very special. And you know what it is? It is my favorite mode of transport. I have tried almost everything how people move around, and I have never found anything better than this. And it might look at the first surface view that there's nothing special in it, but I'll try in this video to show you and to tell you why is it so special in my eyes and why I think it is such a good invention. And you might be already guessing what am I talking about. Maybe, I don't know, because in the distance there, I don't know if you can see what's written and what is it. That big building, there's a big writing on it, which in Cyrillic letters it says Vokzal, which means terminal in Russian, or probably Ukrainian as well. And in this case it is a train terminal. And the story is about trains, but not any old train. It's about the long distance proper night trains, which you can find quite a lot in the regions and area of the former Soviet Union. Not only, but in the former Soviet Union it's very widespread mode of transportation and way of moving around for people. And I do think, like, I can't tell you many nice words about Soviet Union. That's why I don't talk about it much, because there is not much good which can be said about Soviet Union. But this is something which was good. The trains. And it's interesting. If you are from America, you don't have probably almost any train experience at all. If you have to move somewhere, if you have to travel, you either drive even long distances, which isn't a pleasure, I would say, or you take a plane, which either isn't a lot of joy, but it's fast. But you don't have many trains in America. If you are from Western Europe, that one, by the way, it says Приміський вокзал. Misto in Ukrainian is the same as Город in Russian. It's town or city. So it is suburban train terminal. And that big one is the intercity terminal, the separate terminal, and the big one. Okay, if you are from Western Europe, you have probably a good deal of experience with trains, because in Europe train is a very popular mode of transport, not cheap though, in Western Europe and Central Europe. It's not cheap, but those of you who have taken Western European trains, and when I say train is my favorite mode of transport, and if you think that you understand what I'm talking about, make a pause before you jump with decisions and conclusions. I'm not talking about that kind of trains. Those trains which you can find in Western Europe and Central Europe, in my eyes they are only half trains. They're not real proper trains. No matter how expensive they are and how new they are, functionality it doesn't get close to these trains which you can see now here. And even when I read, for example, Russian-speaking tourists and travelers in some blogs and forums where they discuss things. They have two different words for trains. One word is elektrichka. Literally it means the electric one, but the meaning is suburban train. Usually it is electric, that's why they call it elektrichka. But it's basically suburban train. And that's pretty much the same type of train which Europeans have in Western Europe and Central Europe. The only difference would be that the European trains are newer and more expensive and cooler looking, yeah. But basically it's elektrichka. And then in Russian language there is a second term for the train, and this is poyezd. And this is a very honorable, respectable name for the proper long distance train, like this one you see here. And while I'm talking, I thought, why shouldn't I show you what I mean? Because that one is Примиский вокзал. Yeah? That one is the suburban train station. And that one is the intercity one. And I can show you the difference maybe, so you have some impression. But yeah, when they discuss in Russian-speaking forums, for example, about trains, they often laugh about that Europeans don't have trains, don't have proper trains, poyezd. They have only elektrichkas. They have these ridiculous day trains, suburban type trains, and they are running them between big cities in long distances, and people, what to say, they're not comfortable. You just sit like in a bus, you have maybe a little bit of more space and you can walk between the coaches, but basically it's the same as taking a bus. It's not more comfortable and not more pleasant. And let's say, here you see, that's a suburban, that's typical elektrichka. You can't get it any more typical than this, typical elektrichka. And that one as well. So that's the type of train how Europe is traveling. The only difference would be that the trains are new and expensive and looking cool and could be double-deckers and all that kind of stuff. But what does it help if it looks cool and if it's new, if in practical reality you have basically the same service? You have to travel through day, you can't go through night effectively, and you can't sleep, you have to sit in the chair. And unfortunately I can even add here that the newer the train, usually the worse are the seats. They look cool, they are new, they may be with expensive materials and leather and embroidery and whatever. Yeah. But the geometry, usually the newer the seat, the worse is geometry. The seat is almost horizontal and the backrest is almost vertical, so you have to use your muscles to stay in place, to don't fall out of that chair which tries to expel you. And try to sit in some buses which were made in 60s or 70s. These backrests might be very low, they look not cool at all, but they're comfortable. When you sit in them, they're soft and the geometry is such that they almost like swallow you. You don't have to use any muscle power to stay in place. It's very comfortable. So even I would prefer old bus like this with such old comfortable seat rather than these new kind of seats. Okay, that's about sitting and about suburban type trains. About those trains, what Europeans use in Western and Central Europe. And I have traveled with them. I know what am I talking about. Of course they don't look like this, these trains, but the idea is the same. But these guys, come on, this is a different world. And unfortunately you don't get these things in Europe almost at all. Very few and far between. These sleeper trains, proper pojezd, not električka. There are many things how I can describe them. One thing is, you see, they are not, the pojezd, the train, consists of only these coaches. The locomotive is not part of it. It's being attached and detached as needed and can be changed many times during one journey. And the journey can take many days. Like if you travel, well, I'm in Kiev in Ukraine now, but if you can travel, for example, from Moscow to Beijing in China, there's a train which goes there, regular passenger train, through Mongolia, crossing Mongolia. Or there's a train from Moscow to Vladivostok, near Japanese Sea, how do you call it in English? And these trains can take you almost a week, like 6 days and nights. And you can live there easily and comfortably. And the locomotives will be changed many times, and they have these прицепной вагон. This is a separate train car or coach which is being attached and detached to different trains to get a combination which goes to a specific route, and all kind of those things. But the main thing I will show you, hopefully, if they let me, how it looks inside when I get inside. But they have proper beds to sleep in, and it's comfortable, it's silent. You don't hear any engine noise because the locomotive is far away, so it's very silent. You almost can't see or feel how you start moving, because it is very gentle. There are no sudden moves. You can leave the tea on the table without any issues. And you can walk around and you can sleep like a child in a cradle. It's no problem at all. You don't get any seasick movements or whatever, these kind of problems. But okay, before I talk about all these things, probably I need to wait until I board the train and then I can show you around. But this will be video about proper long distance sleeping trains. Here is one is arriving. Can I show you, or will it be in a further track and we don't see it? It might be further away. Let's see, can I zoom it? You see the locomotive, it's electrical one as well. No, it's diesel? No, it's electrical. And you see the coaches. That's the proper train. And the other good stuff about these things are, they are in the, at least in the former Soviet Union, not all of it, not in the Baltic countries, but in Russia, in Ukraine, in Central Asian countries, they have a lot of these trains. Train transport is very important transport. Loads of people are being transported with train all the time, and you have huge choice for the trains and for the places where you can go with the train. Many places often can have train transport well organized, but not so well established road transport. For example, even I don't even have to look for small middle of nowhere places. Even the big Trans-Siberian Magistral train from Moscow to Vladivostok through all the Russia, Siberia and Far East. It is operating long time, since the time of Tsar. Long, I don't know, 18th century when it was built, I don't know even, 19th probably. No, sorry, 18th definitely. Don't know, sorry. Anyway, it's the Tsar's times, it's pre-Soviet times when the train route was built. But it was quite recent when they built roads for buses and cars. It was something like, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago when they properly built this this not even autobahn road. Before they were really, it was very difficult to get from Moscow to Vladivostok with car. There was one part in far eastern Russia which was almost impossible. Muddy, small roads most of the year, unusable at all. So, but the trains were coming and going like clockwork since the times of Tsar. And you can find these places, the same story in many places, where you can get by trains easily and not so easily by anything else. And the trains go often, and they're often, if you travel between the bigger cities, you can easily arrange trains in such a way like I'm doing now. I'm leaving late in the evening, so I had a whole day in Kiev, and I will be arriving early in the morning in Odessa. So basically the only time which I lose is the time when I will be sleeping, and I'll be sleeping in a comfortable bed with the bed sheets and everything. And the price is cheap. It's often cheaper than buses. I don't know what would it cost for a bus to go to Odessa from Kiev, but I know that from the airport to Kiev center, train was cheaper than a bus. And I can easily combine things the way that I can take a train overnight, arrive in a day in a new city, explore that city for the whole day, and then embark in a different train, and on the next night I moved 1,000 kilometers away to another city, and I wake up in another city and I explore that one. I did it some 15 years ago, I think, and it was actually in Ukraine when I was traveling for, I don't know, a week or more, each day in different city and each night in a train. I didn't use any hostels. By that time I didn't know there is such a thing as hostels. I don't know, were they? By that time in Ukraine, maybe they weren't even there. I didn't know about them anyway. So I used only trains to sleep in and cities to explore during the day. And it was nice, it was pleasant, it was comfortable. So yeah, I'm rambling a lot. I'm quite a bit excited. I haven't taken a proper train for a long time. I've been traveling around different places where they don't have these things. They have only these European day trains where you sit, waste your daytime which you could use in exploring a city, and then arrive late at the evening and tired, and then you have to look for a hostel. Here they have these things, which is so nice. Okay, in order not to make this video 5 hours long, I probably should stop here, and I might shoot a little bit in the station, and then I'll do some work somewhere in my tablet, and then when it will be dark evening, late evening, 9:15 I think, when my train is leaving, I'll be boarding the train and I'll film something more for you then. Here I want to show you the train station, the big intercity train station, Vokzal, Центральный вокзал, Central Terminal. And here is the shop, a shop, Всё в дорогу, which means everything for the road. You can buy things before you leave. And what can you buy? Of course, alcohol, vodka, beer, that kind of stuff. That's the unfortunate heritage of the, I think in all totalitarian regimes like Soviet Union, you had this problem of alcoholism. You can't not have it. And yeah, in the former Soviet Union, you still see it a lot and widespread and heavy. Anyway, here is the Vokzal, the train station, and I want to show you how it looks from this you might get a small glimpse about how important train transport has been and is. Vhid, or in Russian Vhod, its entrance. And look at this train station now. One thing is, see this. Well, this is Pributye, so it is arrivals. But anyway, it's the same as that side is Відправлення. Yeah, that's the departures. But you see the amount of trains, and you see how often they go into all kind of places. Let's say how many trains you see at 8 o'clock and at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock and so on. So many trains, eh? So that's one thing which tells you how important this mode of transport is. And another thing, just look at this train station, how majestic it is. It's like opera house. If you're not from this part of the world, I guess you might be surprised seeing this. And this is only a small part of the whole train station. This is kind of the main entrance of it. You see the escalators. Well, let's go there and see. There we will go. The train station itself continues above the platforms and train tracks. The countless train tracks. I don't know how many they have with them here. It looks like 14 probably. Might be. So 14 40. And here's the train station as it continues above the train tracks. All the waiting rooms and all kind of, you can find beds there, and you can find the luggage storage and waiting areas and all kinds of stuff. Let's see. And that huge opera-like building was just an entrance. You see, it continues for a long way there, and on that end of the train station there's another entrance building, a little bit smaller than this one. It's a huge thing. And imagine when they built this train station. I think it tells you something how important the train transport is for these people, which I respect. There are so many reasons why trains are so good. For the nature, for the planet, for the congestion, lessening congestion of the roads, for the economy of fuel and workplaces, and most importantly for us travelers, for the comfort, for the sheer comfort. Let's see. What could be the comparisons with other modes of transport? All kind of small things. I won't touch about these, like bicycles and skateboards and those things. We don't move big distances with those things. If we compare train to bus, it's quite obvious. Bus is nowhere near as comfortable. The movement is like crazy, especially if the roads are bad. It's very cramped. You don't have much space. You can't walk around. You don't. Yeah, it's basically sitting in a tight space and waiting, which is not a lot of joy if you have to travel for long distances. If it's a small distance, that's okay. And it's slow as well. The good trains are faster than buses, might be a lot faster. Then boats, ships, ferries. These are nice and comfortable, and I like water and water transport, but they're very slow and they're very limited in terms of, you see there's like a museum of old stuff as well in the train station. That's inside the station. Okay, So, but you are very limited with the ferries and, and ships where you can go with them. Obviously, you need water, and they are expensive, and they are not very often and far between, and not the best way. If it is possible and if it is affordable, I happily use them, but it's not very often when it's practical. And the bigger comparison would be trains with airplanes. If it's a huge distance between the continents, then usually, if time is important, the plane is the way to go. But even then, it's not the most comfortable way of traveling. You get to sit in a seat for a long time, to sleep sitting, which is not a joy, and you get jet lag and all kinds of problems. But let's compare, for example, in European context, where the distances are not so big, maybe 500 kilometers, 1,000, maybe 1,500. So it's not a huge distance. Well, maybe huge for some, depends what you're used to. And by the way, this is the other end of the train station, the new end, the new entrance. Well, newer. The other entrance, which is away from the center. Okay. So, let's compare. If you have to travel, let's say 2 hours worth of flying with the plane, which would be quite typical for European measures. Often you can get it very cheaply, like from Ryanair you can fly 2 hours for 10 euros sometimes maybe, and it's very difficult to beat the price. So that's why I often use the planes. But time and comfort wise, it's not even that much better. I would say it's a lot worse than the train. Why? Because try to see the whole picture, not just the traveling part. What do you have to do to use plane? Let's say I could go from Kiev to Moscow with a plane. I guess it could be something like 2 hours, maybe 3? No, not 3 probably. What do I have to do? First thing is the hassle of booking the flight beforehand to get the good prices. Usually with trains it's not a problem. I can buy a ticket now and leave in 15 minutes easily. Well, depends on the season and place, but often it's so. So that's the first hassle. When you have the ticket, you have to get to the airport, which is never in the city center. Like this station, I walked here from the very center of the city, and often it's even more central. It's just in the center. Like most European cities have train stations in the very centers of them, historical centers of the cities. So you don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to take another form of transport, which is another hassle, risk of being late if you miss it, or all kind of problems. Sometimes big expense. Sometimes, yes, you can buy Ryanair air ticket for 10 euros, but you can spend 8 euros for the cheapest possible bus to get to the airport, and that's only one end. You will have to get on the arrival and out of the airport too. So it can easily be more expensive than the airplane ticket itself just to get to the airport. And often this Ryanair will get you in after midnight or before 5 or 6 o'clock, which then would mean you would have to take taxi because there are no other transport to the airport. And then it can easily happen that the taxi on one end will be 5 or 3 times as more expensive than the train ticket, the plane ticket. Yeah. Okay, so that's the next hassle. You have to get to the airport. It takes time, it takes money, it's a hassle, it's a risk for something being late, and if one thing is late, you can miss the next thing, and so on. Here's one train arriving or leaving, arriving, I think. Then, when you get into airport, how long beforehand you have to get to the airport? For international flights, it's good if it's 2 hours. 1.5 hour at least, but better too. And what do you do these 2 hours? You fool around with security checks, and then you wait and sit and do nothing. And then you fly for 2 hours, and then you again go through baggage claims or whatever, if you have baggage, not like me. And then you are in another city's airport, and you have to get another bus, train, taxi, whatever, to get to the city itself. So at the end, this 2 hour flight can easily cost you something like 5-6 hours of your time. You see, because it's 2 hour flight, 2 hour waiting time in the airport, then it can easily be up to hour travel to airport. So then some reserve, because you won't get exactly when you want this bus, so you take the previous one, so it might be again more, and then again up to 1 hour to get to the other airport, to the city which you are going to. So you see, you can easily get 5-6 hours wasted time just because of having this 2 hour flight. With the train it's different. The train station is in the very center usually, so you don't have any buses or metros or anything you can miss. Look at this now. Look at this. What do you say about this? Is it beautiful or what? So you just walk in the station, you buy the train ticket, pretty easy usually. You can usually also get it online as well, like I did here. And then you just board the train, and you can do it easily 10 minutes before leaving, no problem. You don't have to be 2 hours earlier. No security checks. Well, in most countries, in Turkey and other countries, you would have. and you go. And the train will take longer than 2 hours, but the total time could be the same, or train could be even faster, because you don't have to fool around with getting to airport, getting off from the next airport to the city, and all the waiting time and all the other hassle. So, and plus, how is the flight and train itself? The flight isn't very comfortable. You sit in extremely uncomfortable seat. The airplane seats are one of the worst usually, especially cheap airlines. The backrests are pretty much vertical, so it's a torture. Even 2 hours is difficult, let alone more. And if you have a better reclining seat in the airplane, it's usually only on intercontinental flights where you have to sleep in that thing. So it's not a joy anyhow. And there's nothing to see, and there is nothing interesting happening. You just wait in that plane. In train it's different. You can watch things around, you can watch people on the platforms in the stations, and there is some markets going on when the train arrives, and local people are selling some produce on the platform. And then you go through the countryside, through the cities. You can see a lot of things, and people are coming in and out, and you can talk to them, and you can walk around the train. You can go to the restaurant, restaurant, car or coach, how do you call it? And but it's quite pleasant thing to be in a train. And the most important thing, you can sleep there. You can properly lay down and sleep. You can get a proper night's sleep. And if it's about night, I would say I would prefer for the train to be slower sometimes. Because let's say now I'm taking a train from Kiev to Odessa. I will leave at 9:15 in the evening and I will arrive at, forgot what was it, something like 7 in the morning. I wouldn't mind this train to be 2 hours longer, this ride, to arrive at 9 o'clock, so I have time before to make breakfast, to wash, to get ready, to do something on my tablet probably, and only then to arrive, not very early. So it's nice, it's pleasant. And the huge thing is you don't have to waste your daytime. You can do your business in a city, or you can do your exploration if you're a tourist. Late in the evening you board the train, you have a good night's sleep, pleasant one, and in the morning you have arrived in the next city, in the very center of it. You don't have to travel to the city, you are already in the center, in the station, and you are well rested and happy to do the business or exploration in this other city. It's a lot better to wake up, go to the airport, wait to do all these security checks, wait for these 2 hours in the airport, then fly for 2 hours, then go from that airport to that city, and after that you have wasted half day, you are already tired, and then in early afternoon you finally arrive in that place where you wanted to be. And plus you had to take hostel before that because you had to sleep somewhere. Here it's 2 birds with 1 stone. You don't need a hostel because you sleep in the train, and you arrive in the morning in a comfortable time, ready for your next city. Okay, it was long. Maybe I'm too excited about getting train after a long time. I have only taken these European, Western and Central European trains for many years. When was the last time when I was taking the proper train, the long distance sleeper train? I think it was in Russia. Something like 13 years ago, 12 years ago, don't remember. Could be. Long time. And it was nice. By the way, if you are getting stressed for whatever reason at work or wherever, that's I can recommend that's one of the best ways how to how do you call it, unwind, get out of this stress situation for your psyche. The Russian train, just board in a Russian train, preferably for a journey of at least 3 days and nights, preferably more. And just go somewhere, no, doesn't matter where. It really unwinds you, especially if you don't have mobile connection, which was my case when I was taking the train ride. It's amazing. You sleep and you wake up and you eat and you read some books and you watch the landscapes and you watch the people, and you wake up again and you notice that there is some platform and people are rushing to make the train, to get on train on time, and they're stressing to not to miss the train, and you're sleeping there in your couch, in your bed, bunk, berth, how do you call it? You're sleeping there and you're thinking at yourself, I don't have any stress and need to run, and I don't even know where I am. It's not yesterday when I came into this train, and it's not tomorrow when I get out of it. It's many days, so I'm good. I can just relax, and it really is amazing way how to unwind, get distressed. So if you have such possibility, I definitely recommend you to take a long distance train. Okay, I went into another round of rambling. What I wanted to say is I probably am too excited about taking a proper train after a long time, and that's why I'm talking so much and praising these things so much. Maybe it will be annoying for some of you. Can't help you. For some of you it might be inspiring. All the best to you. Try it, do it yourselves as well. It's worth it. Okay, we have made a full circle. Here we are again at the big entrance, and I will switch off the camera now, and I will find some place where I can work. And sun is already setting. What time is it? 20 past 6. I don't know if you can see that clock. 20 past 6. So I have almost 3 hours, bit less. Good. I'll do some work, and when it will be time to board, I'll say hi to you again. Sorry, I just had to make a little more of talking. Have you ever seen something like this? This is one wing of the train station building, and this says Зал очікування для військовослужбовців, which I'm pretty sure means waiting room for how do you translate it in English? Soldiers, basically. Those who serve in war. Have you ever seen something like that? A train station. And by the way, there are quite a few, like here, you see soldier. Quite a few soldiers around, and security guys. I've noticed quite often them all around. And the train station even has a separate waiting room for them. Well, it says something good about the trains and train station and the importance of this mode of transport in this country. But it says something sad also about all the war stuff and army stuff. But let's leave it for some other time. Now, I really found a nice spot where I was able to sit. It was warm, and the best of all things, I found also the charging place, the socket, and even a Wi-Fi. So I could do a lot of stuff which I needed to do. And I heard they are announced that at the Shosty Kolyi, at the 6th track, here it is my train already. You see, it's 21:15 is the departure time, Kyiv-Odesa, and here is the way down to the tracks, and I need track number 6. Поїзд знаходиться на 6-ту колію. The train is at the track number 6. And I already see it through the windows. I'm not sure if you see it. Here. Isn't that nice? That's mine. So, Kyiv-Odesa. Even here you say it's Kyiv-Odesa on the train. This train is always for this route. Okay, before I walk around, it's quite long, on that side I don't even see the end. On that side it's quite long as well. I need to find my tickets, and I need to find which coach is mine. And I'll switch you off for a moment and find my tablet with the ticket. So I took out my tablet. Normally I would do it on the phone, but here I want to film, so I will use my phone for filming and show the ticket on the tablet. And this is the coach number 12, and I need coach number 10. So it means we will walk towards that side, and in this case it's interesting. I have a coach type which is called coupé, which is coach with small compartments like this one, 4 beds in each compartment. Usually I take platzkartny. That's the 10, that's mine, but I wanted to tell you. Usually I take platzkartny, which is open planned, kind of on the same space where here we have 4 berths. They would have 6. The reason being it's cheaper, it's a lot cheaper, and I actually quite like platzkartny because I feel that it's quite nice. I'm a bit nervous because I still have 7 minutes left. Not too much. Anyway, in coupe it means that you have kind of separate compartment, but you are together with 3 strangers anyway. So in that case I could even feel that it's better to have open plan in a way, but I don't mind. In this case I bought for coupe because there were no spaces left on the platzkartny, unfortunately. Probably because it's the Friday evening and everybody is going for the weekend to Black Sea. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But in any case, I think it's time to board and stop talking now. So I assume they will want my passport and they will want my ticket. Let's go. Добрый вечер.
Добрый.
Билет? Это 10-й, да?
Да, 30 место.
Ага. Спасибо. So this is how the entrance looks. This is to the next coach. This is stop kran. In the case of emergency you can stop the train. Oh, it's so warm here. Nice. Nice. So I have number 30 and upper. So let's see, here are the numbers. Добрый вечер. Здравствуйте. 30 это здесь, наверное, да? Yeah, that's the number 30. let's see, a little bit around. At the end, that's the whole car. At the end there is a toilet room, there's a wash basin, and there's the toilet. This is newer one than the ones which I remember from the previous days when we actually started to move. You see, we are moving, and it was very quiet and nice. I almost didn't notice it. So this is the nightly Kiev which we are leaving, and there won't be any point of filming now because everything will be dark, and I am personally interested to get into bed as quick as I can and to catch as much sleep hours as I can before I have to wake up, because we arrive a little bit past 6 in the morning, so I'll wake up probably a bit after 5 o'clock. We'll see. That's my space up there. There are 2 spaces, 2 berths down and 2 up in each compartment, and each compartment has doors which can be closed.
На самом деле по занятости у многих с этим проблемы. У меня просто такая школа раньше была.
This is the packaging for the bed linen, and I will make my bed in a moment now. So I have made my bed. It's nice actually. With all the pillowcase and blanket and the extra mattress wrapped into another blanket, bed sheet probably, and this is how it looks down. I usually try to deliberately take upper bunk. Usually people try to go for the lower ones, and in some places they're even more expensive, but I deliberately go for upper because it's more freedom. Well, during night it won't be any difference now, but if it's a longer trip, then during the day the one who is down in the lower bunk, that person has to give the conductor lady, I'm not sure how do you call it in English. In Russian it's provodnica, the person who is responsible for one coach in this train. And she was coming and checking the tickets and seeing that everything is alright, and those who ordered extra tea or whatever, so she'll bring it as well. So what I was starting to tell was that for the lower places, for the lower bunks, during the day they have to give space for seating for those who are in the upper ones, because the person in the upper one might want to sit instead of sleep during the day, and then the seating space is down there, so it means the lower one can't decide to sleep during the day. I don't mean just literally sleep, just lay down, because the space is for 2 people, but the upper one, like I am here, it's a complete freedom. If you want to, you can go down and sit, it's for you. And if you want to lay down in your bed and read and do whatever, you just stay up here and nobody bothers you. That's why it's a bigger freedom for the upper bunks, and that's why I always choose upper ones. Plus, it's very good that upper ones are, if there is a price difference, they're cheaper. Not every train has this price difference. Plus, they are the last ones to get sold out. It's often when you can find that the lower ones are sold out and the upper ones are still available, which was my case now as well. So I was happy to take them. So, what else is here? Doors are open, but they're possible to close. Probably will be closed during the night. There's some shelf for some things. I have towel as well in this bed sheet, bed linen set. There's some space for extra gear. I'm traveling together with some surfers who are going to surf in Black Sea. So that's their equipment there. And down there there's a table. You can sit and eat your dinner or whatever, because if you travel for many days you are doing everything here. You're eating, you're reading, you're sleeping, everything. And then at the end of the coach there's a toilet with a wash basin, and somewhere in the train usually there is a restaurant car where you can order properly made dinner or supper or breakfast, whatever. If you want to pay for that, you can do that as well. Or you can take your own stuff with you and make it here and eat it here. That's why the table is here. So that's basically it. And yeah, one more thing I can add probably about the movement of the train. People who haven't used these trains, they're afraid. In older days there were not these, how do you call these metal things which prohibit you to roll out from your bed. Before, when I was using these trains, they didn't have these things. Now they have made them. But it still was never ever a problem, because you don't roll out just by yourself. And the train movement is very gentle. It is moving, it is swaying in some way, I don't know how to describe it, but the movement is more like a child cradle movement. It's very comfortable and very good for sleep. It puts you to sleep very quickly and you sleep very well. And there are no sudden movements. The starting and stopping of the train is extremely gentle and slow. You can even go without noticing it. You just suddenly see that, oh, we're moving. Oh, we have stopped. So you don't ever get the sudden braking or slowing down when you could roll out of your bed. It's impossible. It's even for them to, for the train driver, it's prohibited to do it. Even if somebody is on the tracks, he can't stop. And even if he could stop the train abruptly so quickly, the casualties would be more inside of the train. The people who just roll out of the bed. One thing which might be better is, you see the guys checking the charger. There's only one socket on the whole compartment. Well, it's nice, it's there. On the older days I don't remember seeing them, so I don't think they were there. Maybe they were, I just didn't know. I didn't care, because in those days nobody needed to charge the phone, because phone was useless anyway outside of your country. But now it's a good thing when you can charge. So, it is comfortable, it is nice, space is good enough, and yeah, what else can I say? Tomorrow morning, when I wake up, if I wake up early enough to do everything which I want to do before leaving, and probably also to make something to eat and have my breakfast, and if I still have time, I might try to walk around the train a little bit and to show you how the platzkartny wagon, the other type, the third class probably you should say. This is the second class and that one is the third class, which I usually use. I think so. That's how it should be translated probably, because the first class would be what is in Russian usually called spalny wagon. It's a nonsense term because it means sleeping car. Everywhere people are sleeping, but that's the kind of a luxury place where in the same kind of compartment like this we have 4 bunks, they would have only 2. Then the second class probably should be this, which is kupeni or coupe, like cope. How do you translate it? This compartment thing, like small room with 2 berths in it. So that's this one. Then the third class, I think it should be translated the third class, is the one which I usually use, platzkartny, and in that case there would be no wall in that space, and at that wall on the outer near the window would be 1 and 2 more beds in the same space of the car. So it means 6 beds in the same area and no doors, no wall. People would walk and it's like open planning. So that's platzkartny, and or probably it should be called third class. That's what I usually use. And then there is one bed option which is called общий wagon, and this is usually an old platzkartny car but with seats designated only for sitting, which means even more people would fit in the same space, but you wouldn't have space where you could sleep. You could only sit, and that's something which I avoid at all costs. To sit overnight, it's not funny. But but the platzkartny is very good, because then you can sleep as good as here, basically. A little bit less probably, because the wall would be slightly closer, and here you see I have still space for my legs, and after that I still have space. For platzkartny my legs would be slightly over the edge, but since there's no wall it's no problem. But for the tall people like me, I am 1 meter 91 centimeter, I would recommend not to take side berths. They're calling them bokovые, side ones, because that distance is slightly shorter. I think if you're meter 70, maybe even meter 80 would be still okay. For me it's a little bit too short if I use the side one in the platzkartny, and if it's longer trip it's not very pleasant when you can't stretch your legs fully. But in this class in Kopene, of course, it's no problem, because there is nothing on the side, it's just a corridor. So that's probably all I could tell you, and I think I'll go to sleep. Nothing else I need to do. Probably wash my teeth, drink some water, and we'll go to sleep. Okay, good night. That's it for today, and see you in the morning arriving to Odessa. Good morning. Good morning. We have arrived in Odessa. By the way, I forgot to show you yesterday this thing. It's the hot water boiler, or how do you call it, samovar in Russian. The thing which prepares the hot water all the time. You can take any moment hot water and make soups and anything. Спасибо. This train is called Chernomorets. Odessa, Kiev, Chernomorets. Chernomorets means Black Sea person, probably. That's how you can translate into English. Black Seer. And I'm still in t-shirts and shorts because it was tropics in the coach. In the corridor there was a thermometer which showed 24 degrees, but in the coupe it was even warmer. I don't know, maybe 28 degrees. So it was very hot. So I decided not to put all my clothes on me, even though it's quite cold here. But I'll go in the restroom in the station and get my clothes on there. Here you can see how the locomotive looks. That's one of the electric ones, and it's pulling another proper train, just similar like ours. And that's the Odessa Vokzal or terminal. The morning was quite early, nobody was waking up, and I didn't want to make too much noises to make soup and walk around. So I didn't show you the Platzkartny type of coach. If I will see it now, I might show you how it looks through the window. We'll see. I don't see any. All Kupeni on me. Maybe the very first ones. Or could it be that there is no Platzkartny in this train? That would be strange. That would explain why I couldn't buy Platzkartny ticket. Yeah, this one is Kupeni as well. So that's the Odessa train station. Really, this one is Kupeni as well, so either I didn't notice or there were no Platzkartny coaches in this train. Sorry, couldn't show you. Some other day. You see the locomotive is detached already. The train is there. The locomotive is here. This is the train station of Odessa, and even though this is a smaller city, But you see, well, you don't see in this darkness too much. It's 6:30 only in the morning and it's not very much light in here. But you see the train station is very beautiful as well. And I will want to see what is this Vidpravlenie. So this is departures. I want to see if I can find train to Chisinau, which I want. I know that it is something past 6 in the evening, so 12 hours from now. I don't see it here. Yes, I do see it here. Odessa, Chisinau. Nice. And Shodin, where is it? Means every day, which is nice as well. And arrival is 33 minutes past 10 at night, which isn't ideal. I try to avoid these things, but I have no choice here, do I? Okay, that's about it. Vychid v misto means exit to city in Ukrainian. Let's see if I can find a good place where I could dress. I saw there was a bathroom, but it was a paid one, and unless I really need it, I could avoid it and get dressed somewhere here, maybe. We'll see. It might work. And then I will buy a ticket, the first thing, and then I will think how to use my day in Odessa. I have a couple ideas, and we'll live it minute by minute. Okay, friends, I think that is it. That is it for this video. You had some glimpse with some of my explanations and comments about proper trains and how to use them and how it's like when you use them. Enjoyable. The only thing probably I could add is that it wouldn't be bad if there would be a shower in these trains. I have heard that some of the newer trains and better trains have showers in them, but usually they don't. But there's a good solution for that: baby wipes. Just buy a pack of baby wipes, the wet wipes, go in the toilet and use these wipes as the shower. It works. It's not perfect, it's not ideal, but it works. Okay, that's it for this video. Enjoy your travels, and I seriously suggest, if you haven't tried these kind of long distance sleeper trains, do it whenever you are especially in the post-Soviet space, like Russia, Ukraine, Central Asia countries. These trains are cheap, there are plenty to choose from, and they're really convenient and nice. All the best to you, friends. Till next time.